So let's talk about the effect of chemotherapeutic medicines on. Actually, we know how the cancer is, one of the most devastating problems that we are facing these days, along with heart failure. And these chemotherapeutic medicines have a great impact on our heart health. So in the form of different medicines affect differently on our heart. I mean, they targeted the heart in different ways. Like we have anthracyclines, we have TKIs, we have immune checkpoint inhibitors. So all of them act differently on our heart. And that's why over these past years, we have realized that we have to, do the assessment of heart before starting these chemotherapies. So there are different definitions, but as we have already gone through many presentations today, I will make it simple that when we do a baseline echo before starting the chemotherapy, we have to see the LVEF. If there is a decline in LVEF, about 10%, or we will measure the GLS if there is a decline of around 15% in the GLS, and then 40 to 49% EF from the baseline. We considered it as in the definition of heart failure. So we have these different definitions. We are going to consider about those who have asymptomatic heart failure. That is a new LVEF reduction to less than 40%. And there is an LVEF reduction by greater than 10% points to an LVEF to 40 to 49. Or there is an LVEF that is less than 10% point, but it is 40 to 49%, either or by GLS greater than 15%. And mild if it is greater than 50%, but there is a decrease in GLS by greater than 15% from the baseline. So this is almost the same slide, so we will go further. Actually, we have to look from different point of views. We have to look the patients from the point of view, those who has gone through chemotherapy and who are already having some risk factors, probably in the form of valvular heart disease, in the form of hypertension or diabetes or any ischemic heart disease or cardiomyopathies, and those who have received cardiotoxic treatments and developed cardiovascular complications, and those who have some impact on cardiovascular disease. These are the effects of some of the chemotherapeutic medicines on heart. Likewise, myocardial dysfunction and heart failure, the anthracyclines, the vasospasm and vasoocclusive resulting like 5-fluorouracils and vascular endothelial growth factors, the valvular disease caused by radiotherapy, the arrhythmias caused by anthracyclines in the form of prolonged QT prolongation by TKIs, then arterial hypertension and peripheral vascular diseases, and again, pulmonary hypertension. This is not moving? Yes. So this is the echocardiography for cardio-oncology. Actually, what parameters we have to look on the baseline echo? We have to see the LV function by 2D, by 3D, GLS, and we have to see the RV functions, the pulmonary artery pressures, and we have to include the TR, the IVC diameter, and everything. The importance of doing LVEF is drop greater than 10%, as we have already discussed on 2D, or greater than 5% for 3D from pre-treatment value, and relative reduction of greater than 10 to 15% from pre-treatment value and below that, the lower limit of normal. And again, the decline in LVEF value less than 40 to 50% suggests initiation of cardioprotection, and average from all the views that we took, the GLS and the biplane. इसको चेंज कर दे प्लीज, ये यहाँ से अच्छा sorry. So let's discuss from the case-based study that I have a patient who is 34, female, and diagnosed with CA breast, and baseline echo done before starting the chemotherapy. And her baseline echo is showing an LVEF of 40%. This is again. Change करें.
It will probably hypertension like here. She probably is hypertensive as well.
So
LV भी इसका बढ़ा हुआ है. ठीक है. Diastolic dysfunction भी है, as well as.
मैं आगे चल रही हूँ. This is not moving.
हाँ नहीं वो तो दोनों है ना मतलब.
So on initial echo, we यहाँ पीछे. हाँ? So her initial echo shows an LVEF of 40% with a GLS of around 14%. So her baseline echo is already showing reduced ejection fractions. What we did that we kept her on cardioprotective medicine. We have started along with her chemotherapy without delaying her chemotherapy. And we did her echo around 1.5 months after starting her putting her on cardioprotective medications, which include beta blockers and AC inhibitors initially. And she has shown a very good improvement in her LVEF, both in her biplane as well as in the form of her GLS. She has almost recovered her LVEF by putting her on cardioprotective medications. Now, the one thing that the importance of using different modalities in assessing the LV functions is that when we using, sometimes the patient who has left bundle branch, like this patient of mine whose echo has been done from somewhere else and it has been labeled that her LVEF is around 35 to 40%. So this caused hindrances in starting her chemotherapy. But when we have done her 3D echo, it has been found that she has a perfectly normal LVEF. Because the 3D echo has less assumptions, less geometrical assumptions, so that you have clear your ambiguities. So this is her GLS. Now this is the peak systolic strains and stuff. Now, considering the reproducibility of LVEF, we know that this is something which is variable in cases of change in volumes, because we have to track the, if we are using 2D Simpson method, we have geometrical assumptions. So the answer came in the form of, sometimes depending on the LV size and load, the LVEF is variable. We cannot, 100% rely on it. I'm skipping this slide because of the time constraint. So what is strain? So strain is, we all know, is the measurement of deformation of solid objects, and this will even pick up any deformity in the myocardium earlier than the decline in the left ventricular ejection fraction. But the strain, because the heart, the arrangement of fibers in the heart, the endocardiums, the longitudinal arrangement, then the circumferential, and then again the radial or opposite in the direction of the endocardium, the fibers are arranged this way. So the strain images also has some, drawbacks, such as in the form of increase of, whenever there is an increase in afterload, you have decreased strain. So there are advantages and disadvantages. The advantages, we know that we have, we don't need, because we are not dependent on angulations, and we have quite early recognition of the decline in LVEF. So strain analysis have good sensitivity in detecting subclinical left ventricular systolic dysfunction with high reproducibility, and one limitation of the strain is that different loading conditions between studies directly affect wall strain and GLS. That is, markedly higher blood pressures on one day leads to greater afterload and GLS appearing worse than it is. So the solution is myocardial work indices, because they incorporate the non-invasive BP, and that's how we can find actually how the myocardium is working. So, myocardial work index is, the measurement of force and length, and we estimate LV pressure allows creation of a pressure strain curve similar like the pressure volume loop that we are all aware of. So this way we estimate the functioning of the myocardium. So there are different indices of myocardial work, like global work index, global constructive work, global wasted work, and global work efficiency. So there are limitations of myocardial work indices as well, because sometime in case of valvular heart diseases and LVOT obstructions and cardiomyopathies, they are a little bit deceptive. So they can work with a heart which is almost normal without congenital defects. So this is the way that the map shows how the different segments of the heart are working. Different ranges are for males and females, from I think 1900 to 2500 is the normal functioning, millimeters of mercury is the normal functioning of the heart, and that's how we measured the wasted work, and then we measured the work efficiency. And we have got this pressure volume loop. So prognostic value of myocardial work indices for cancer patients, that this is again incorporation of the systolic BP, which may improve accuracy in the diagnosis of concurrent and future cancer-related cardiotoxicity. So still there are many, research work is going on to establish its relationship with the, its effect on cancer patients, that how the myocardial work index, the strain, the 3D, the LVEF, we can incorporate all these knowledge to protect their heart from any, future risks of myocardial injury. So how do we do the surveillance of these patients? We are mainly considering the anthracyclines, which we use in breast cancer patients, because we have a huge burden of breast cancer. Roughly, we said around 38.8% of total cancer burden is for the females who are suffering from breast cancer. So among those, we have to do it if the surveillance we are talking about, the surveillance echo, we have to do it
2 minutes remaining.
Sorry, okay. Okay. We have do transthoracic echo after the cumulative dose of 240 milligram, and then 1 to 5 years after the treatment if there is greater than 300 milligram of cumulative dose. For trastuzumab, we will do it after every 4th cycle, and if the patient is high risk, like already have some cardiac risk factors, we will do it more frequently. And then after the therapy, we do it 6 months, then 24 months, and for other, again, 2 to 4 weeks if high risk, and then 6 months. And for long-term surveillance, we have do periodic 6 to 24 months reassessment can be considered. So the take-home message is that we have a deep connection between cancer and cardiovascular diseases, and we have to do the 3D echo if possible, 3D LVEF assessment, because it has a great prognostic and therapeutic implications, the strain images, and further myocardial work indices if possible. Thank you very much.